Hey, yo, what's up, dudes, and welcome to episode 2 of Tarkov for Dummies. This episode, we're going to start with a little episode 1 extension. We're going to look at settings, just to clean that up from episode 1, and then we are going to get into what we need to do before our first raid. We're going to review our quests. We're going to talk about SCAVS versus PMCs. We're going to talk about found and raid items a little more at length. We touched on it in the first episode. We're going to go into a little bit more detail in this episode to provide you guys a little more insight of where exactly to find them and how to achieve them. Because even though it's called found and raid, technically doesn't have to be in raid. Neat little trick we'll teach you in the hideout. We're going to talk about our stash, and we're going to sell off some items and our economy. And then we're going to get into our first raid of this series. First things first, we are going to look at settings. So first of all, settings are completely personal preference. It's entirely up to you. Play with them as much or as little as you want. Personally, I follow Pestily settings. I'll put a link to that below. We're going to fly through this real quick. You could pause the video on each screen and copy them if you like. These are taken directly from Pestily settings as of, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. And we'll just go little by little. You can click through and pause the video and copy them if you like. So one thing I mentioned in episode 1 about my control setup is I've reverted everything back to default. I had custom mapped almost every key in this game, and I've reverted it back to default. So I'm starting right with you guys. I don't actually know the default buttons in this game, so I'm relearning them. So I'll be kind of like on par with you guys. We'll be learning them together and experiencing together. You'll see a lot of this when we do stuff in raid. I'll say what button I'm pushing, but it would be a very good idea to go through these and kind of like just mock it out on your keyboard and your mouse. As you're scrolling through here, seeing what everybody does and where all the buttons are. If you want to move stuff around, absolutely feel free to do so. It is completely up to you guys. The only thing I've done that's like a little custom is VoIP on mouse 3, which is a side mouse button on my mouse. I know not everybody has side mouse buttons. Key VoIP to whatever you want, or don't key it at all. By no means are you required to talk in game, but if you want that option, put it wherever you can. So I chose a side mouse button, which is probably the only thing I'm going to have that's a little custom to my setup instead of having a keyboard key for VoIP. So you can put it wherever you like or not at all. Completely up to you. Okay, so housekeeping out of the way, the first thing we're going to do when we log in is check our messages and check our quests. If you remember in episode 1, we hit level 2 just by inspecting items, and just doing that, hitting level 2, unlocks different quests for us. So we're going to go through that. So first things first, we're going to check our messenger, and we have a message from Prepper with a package. Now these, I'm not sure where these come from. Usually, sometimes there are like holiday events and drops and things like that that you can get free items. I'm not sure where these are coming from, but they're coming, and we'll just take them. And quests, as you can see, remember we talked about the green check marks. The green check marks are not only for daily and weekly quests. That's one correction I have from episode 1. It's all the quests they have available. I'm just used to seeing them on daily and weeklies because they pop up every day, whereas my other quests are generally just accepted. So we'll go one by one and make sure we've accepted all of our quests. Obviously, so we have debut for Prepper. We need shotguns and scav kills on customs. Therapist, we need Salewas. Remember, these are found in raid, and we're going to talk about that as well in just a moment. The skier have anything for us? Nope. Does Peacekeeper? Nope. Mechanic does, because he has that green check mark. Gunsmith Part 1. The Gunsmith series of quests are about building guns with particular specifications that he gives you here in the description. Your EFT wiki that we talked about in episode 1, we'll put that link in the description as well, is your Bible. It will have everything you need for this Gunsmith series, but we'll do that later. We won't do one this episode. When we get there, we'll show you exactly how to build these guns, but we will keep an eye out for a 133 shotgun. All right. Introduction. This is an important quest. This is a quest that unlocks Jaeger for us, so we want to get this done as quickly as possible because we want Jaeger. We want to be able to talk to Jaeger and sell him stuff. Fragment doesn't have anything, and Jaeger, of course, doesn't have anything. So Messenger, again, these are just the quests we added, which gives us a little, the quest text. So our priority for the early quest should be this mechanic quest, Introduction to Unlock Jaeger. We want that. The second one I want to touch on, because we're going to transition into found in raid items and what that means, is this Salewa quest for Therapist, shortage. Find 3 Salewas in raid and hand them over. We talked about found in raid in episode 1, where you literally are in a raid and you find an item and you loot it and you extract with that item and it has the found in raid status. But there is a second way to achieve found in raid items, and that is through your hideout. We're going to hop over to the hideout and see what we can do from there. So we can get to our hideout directly from this page on the bottom left. My camera might be covering it, but there is a hideout tab right next to the main menu tab on the bottom left. We'll click on that and we'll jump into the hideout. Okay, so here we are in the hideout. We did a little introduction in episode 1, but I want to talk about 3 things specifically in the hideout. Remember, I mentioned the hideout can do a lot of things for us with passive boosts to our skills, but also to craft items. The first thing we want to craft is the med station. Should be our priority for crafting in the hideout because med station level 1 lets us craft Salewas. And when you craft an item in your hideout, when you receive that item from your hideout, it has found in raid status. Even though you didn't loot it from a raid, because it was crafted in your hideout, it has found in raid status. So unlocking the med station as early as possible, we can craft Salewas and we can turn those in to therapists for that quest. So we're going to be looking out for a syringe, for a pile of meds, 2 bandages we already have. We can also purchase bandages from therapists. So we need syringe and 1 pile of meds, and we'll be ahead of the game crafting our Salewas to turn in for that quest. So med station wants to be our priority. You also remember that I mentioned we can buy all these items in the flea market, but the flea market doesn't unlock for us until level 15, which could be a ways, and we don't want to wait that long. So even though that we'll be able to buy everything we need to upgrade our hideout on the flea market, we should be looking for these items as early as possible on our Scav and on our PMC so that we can upgrade these things before we get to level 15. 2 things also recommend: the lavatory can craft you items as well, and your workbench can craft you ammunition and other items, things like that. So, but basically, we want to be able to unlock everything that has our little, lock symbol. We want to be able to construct as early as possible before we even hit level 15. So what I'm going to do is, I know I need a couple of items for this med station, but I have a horrible memory. So you can make notes in game on your character of things you want to write. So if we click down here in our character tab, we go back here, we go to our tasks tab up here in the top, and on the top right, you'll see quest items and notes. We can add a note, and we could type, if I click in here, we can type whatever we want in here. So we're going to make ourselves a shopping list, things that we need, not only for quests, but items that we need to upgrade our hideout that we should be looking out for, and things we should keep. So here we go. Shopping list montage. Okay, here we have our shopping list of things we need to upgrade in the hideout. I'm gonna limit this to hideout upgrade items that we're looking for. I also included this first stash upgrade items just to keep an eye out for. I'm not gonna write quest items on here because we have the quest item infographic and also the early ones I kind of remember. So right now, I know that we need Salewas and we need 1 through 3 shotguns. Don't need to write those down. So for Salewas, we know we can craft them in the med station, but we need to find items, construct a med station in order to craft our Salewas. So we do need to find items in raid to even make all this happen. Okay, so we have our shopping list. Now let's jump into our character. There's a little cleanup I want to do here. Some stash management, because you can see we have a very small stash. We looked at the stash upgrade in the hideout. So I'm going to do just a little cleanup and sell some stuff. First things first, backpacks can stack. Boom. Look at that. You can put a backpack inside of one another, save yourself a bunch of space. And this armor, I can put inside of a backpack. If I hold this armor and I click R, it will rotate. And it'll take up, same amount of space, but I can rotate it so I can play a little bit of Tetris here. Put the fuel in there, hit R to rotate this fleece and this ripstop. Boom. Now my backpacks are stacked and inside of other stuff. Also, these rigs are empty right now. I could put stuff inside of these rigs. Why not? I could take this rig, come down here, put my water in it, put my food in it. And this is strictly for space saving activities. We'll put a couple bandages in there. Why not? And again, rotate it. Put it vertically, save a little space. We're playing Tetris here. Tetris, every Tarkov gamer's favorite pastime. If it's not, it will be very soon. You will get very good at Tetris. Trust me. I'm not going to put these because I'm going to sell these. And we're going to sell some of these items, and I'll tell you why. We're going to stack these rubles as well. You can get stacks of up to 500,000 per currency. We're going to be selling some of this stuff, and we're going to be keeping some of this stuff. I'm going to keep these armors because we can use them. We'll keep this AK and its magazines. We'll keep the ammo. And we'll keep these PPs, these PP19s. Why not? We could use them. One little hint, if you click down on your middle mouse on a gun, you can fold its stock. And that does nothing except for save you some space. So you can fold this AK as well. Not all stocks in the game are foldable, but some are. Give it a go. Save yourself some space. We'll leave all this up here. We're going to sell a few items. The first thing we're going to sell is this vodka, because the vodka serves us no purpose right now. It is used for a barter trade, but that's like much later in the game, and you can just vendor that. That's just free money right there. And I'm also going to sell these painkillers. I'm not a fan of these painkillers. You're welcome to keep them, and you're welcome to use them. I'm not a fan of them because they take away so much hydration. Minus 19 hydration every time you use them, and they only last 80 seconds. So I'm not a fan of them. I don't use them. I'd rather either not use painkillers or use something completely different that's a little more expensive but a little more realistic. So I just sell them. I don't use them. As a beginner, by all means, you can. I'm also going to sell these hats to Ragman. Remember, Ragman is all our clothing, because the hats serve no purpose as well. Oh, one other little hint. You can see how quickly I'm sending these items to the to sell instead of clicking and dragging. If you hold control and click, it will automatically send it over, and that it works on your character as well. We can talk about that right now. So control click is to loot an item. So this will put it in my rig or my backpack automatically, and if I'm still holding control and I click, it sends it back to the stash. If I hold alt and click on an item, it's auto equip. So if I control click this pistol, you see it puts it in my backpack because it's just looting it. If I hold alt and I click it, it will equip it to my person. So you see it went here in the holster. And if I alt click it from here, nothing happens because I can't equip it anywhere else. But if I control click it, back to the stash. Same with a main gun. If I control click, it goes to the backpack. If I alt click, it goes to my person. So when you're looting in raid, control click is your friend. Quick looting into your backpack or your rig. Very handy. That was a little sidebar, but I did want to talk about that this episode. Mechanic, remember, is our guns and our ammo. I'm going to sell these pistols. I don't like these pistols. If there is a quest for pistol kills later on, I recommend the 5.7 or the Glock. These pistols I don't like personally. I'm going to sell them just for money. We also need money spent anyway. So I'm going to sell these pistols and all these magazines. You're welcome to keep them and try to use them. If there's a player with a helmet but no face shield, it should tap to the face, one shot to the face. I believe it should. I just don't like those specific pistols in particular. I could buy a different pistol if I want one. We also have these guns here to use. If we run out of guns on our character, what we will do is we'll go to Prapor and we'll buy the SKS. We'll get into that in our PMC raid, and I'll explain that a little bit more later. But just so you know, there is a reason we're selling them. We'll go with the SKS if we need to. We'll stack up this ammo. These ammos can stack in 25s. I just click and drag, and you can see when it highlights yellow, it means that you can stack it. You can see this one can't stack into anything. So if you click and drag into something yellow, it means you can stack it. We will also sell these grenades. Remember, Prapor, we'll buy our grenades. I'm not going to use grenades early game. Grenades, we're clicking, controlling click to move them over quick. And that's such a little early selling stuff. I do that, makes more space, and I know I'm not going to use those items. As a beginner, give them a go. If you like them, keep them. If you don't, sell them. I don't recommend them. I'd rather have an SKS than a pistol for a beginner gun, just because it's better ammo and it does more damage. So that's just me. You're welcome to experiment if you like, but that's how I usually start with a brand new account. Sell stuff I don't need. The last thing I'll touch on about your character and your stash is how this game works is with wipes. You'll hear the word wipe a lot. I'd say 4 to 6 months is about the average. The last few wipes have been 6 to 7 months. The game will wipe, which usually comes with a big update where they introduce a map or other mechanics or something like that. And a wipe means that it resets your account. So the way you saw your account when you logged in, after 6 or 7 months, when a wipe comes, all the gear you got, all the levels you got, that will all be reset back to 0, back to the default of whatever version of the game you bought. And everybody starts all over with a clean slate. That's the way the game works. That's the way it's going to work for the foreseeable future. I believe when Tarkov goes full release, there will be separate servers for wipe versus non-wipe. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but as of now, we are in beta. The game wipes every X number of months. We don't know too far in advance when wipes are coming. We usually get maybe a month or a few weeks notice. You can kind of get vibes if you follow the community on social media. When a wipe is coming, you can kind of see. The week leading up to a wipe, you can definitely tell. They'll change rules in the game and things get wonky. And so you'll know when a wipe is coming a few days before. But just know that everything you gain over 6 or 7 months or so, whatever the wipe term is, everyone will get reset back at some point. Okay, so we've done a little cleanup. We've looked at our hideout. We know what items we need to look for. We have our shopping list. Now it's time to go shopping. It's time to play the game. So we have 2 options here, a PMC, your main character, or a Scav. Now, a Scav is a random AI loadout. It's completely generated randomly by the game. As you increase your scav reputation and you have successful scav raids and you increase your scav rep, your loadout will get better and better, and your cooldown will get faster and faster. Also, as you upgrade your hideout, you can increase, or I should say decrease, your scav cooldown. Right now we can use our scav. After we use it, you'll see the timer on it. You can only use it every so often, every 15-20 minutes or something like that to start. I recommend using your scav as often as possible. Every time your scav is up on cooldown, you should be using it, because this is a free loadout for you to use. It's not your gear. If you die, you lose it, but it's not yours. So it's a very low risk way to get into a raid, look for items you might need for a quest or your hideout, or if it has a cool gun or something you need, maybe a backpack you want, you can load it on your scav, extract with that stuff, and now it's yours. If you're low on money, it's a great way to top up your cash. Go in, loot a couple things, get out, sell everything you had on your scav. Easy couple 100,000 rubles right there, top up your cash flow. Your PMC is your character. It's what you load out with. You go in with your stuff. If you die, you lose it. So it's the more risky option. I recommend you, every time your scav is up, you should be using it. It's a great way to go item hunting, shopping for your hideout items, for found in raid quest items you can find on your scav. Doesn't have to be on your PMC as long as it's found in raid. Top up. And it's also a great way to explore maps as a beginner, because it's fairly low risk. People aren't kind of killing player scav because it hurts your personal scav karma. And we'll explain scav karma in the load in a little more. So people aren't killing scavs unless they're PMCs or don't care about that scav karma. So using VoIP, you can kind of talk your way out of a lot of situations when you're a scav. Say, hey, I'm a scav, I'm only looking for items, or I'm just running around learning the map. People might leave you alone, they might not, they might still kill you, but it's worth a shot. You know, try to get out of there alive. But honestly, especially early when you're new to the game, a scav is a great way to get some in-raid experience with other AI, with other players, and learning the maps as well. We'll talk about offline raids when we get to PMC raids, which are a great way to learn the map, and I highly recommend them. You can also do it on a scav. If your scav is up, might as well hop in, use it, have a loadout, learn the map a little bit, and get some experience that way. So this episode, we're going to do a scav raid, because it's the first thing you should do. And you can see we have all these maps available to us. Some are not released yet. Interchange, Customs, Woods, Factory, Reserve, Lighthouse, and Shoreline are all available to us as open maps. The lab is a map that is available, but you need a lab key card to get in there. Very like end game, very high level. A lot of professional gaming chairs in that map, if you know what I mean. Cheaters. You can find the high probability of cheaters, or the highest probability of cheaters is going to be in the lab. The best loot is there. The best loot, the best enemies to get weapons and their loot. And so you might run into that there, but we won't do that till later this wipe, or later this series. The smallest map is Factory, and that's what we're going to do this scav run on. I recommend Factory. It's quick and easy if you just want to get in, get out, a minute, 2 minute raid just to get your loadout, loot 2 boxes, and extract for an easy win. Factory is the way to go. Later on, we'll talk about scav raids and interchange, which are my recommendation once you get a little more comfortable in the game. A lot of great loot you can find in interchange. But for now, we're just going to do Factory. You can see on the bottom, each map has different times you can get in, nighttime or daytime. This is in military time, as you can tell. Nighttime raids, there are quests to do nighttime raids and night vision, things like that. Factory is always here because it's an indoor map. It doesn't really matter. The nighttime raid is very dark, so we'll go daytime. Factory 1528 is 3:28 in the afternoon. We'll do that and we will ready up. So while we're loading, what we're going to look at is the Factory map. If you remember, we talked about the wiki. We just type in EFT wiki Factory into Google, and it's the first link right here. And this is the wiki page for Factory. We can scroll down, we can see a map of Factory. Now we will review this after the raid to show you where we spawned and where we went. I'm pretty familiar with the Factory map, but every time you load into a map, you should have the wiki and have a map open. If you have the luxury of another monitor, put it on a separate monitor to your side, on your phone, on a tablet, anything you can have to your side, or be really, really good at alt-tabbing and really fast at it. But I recommend having it on a separate monitor so you can focus, so you don't have to alt-tab in and out. You don't want to have to alt-tab in a raid when you're trying to escape a fight or something like that. But we'll review the map after the raid to show you where we spawned, where we went. The other thing to talk about is Scav Karma. So as you successfully have scav raids and scav extracts as a scav, if you do not kill other scavs, or if you kill a player scav who is killing other scavs. So basically you're in the scav family, they're your brothers and sisters. So you're keeping it chill with the scavs. If you keep it chill with the scavs, you extract and you get an addition to your scav karma. And that is the reputation, the trader reputation with fence. Remember in episode 1, we looked at trader reputation for quests and leveling. Fence's reputation is your scav rep. As your scav rep increases, your scav loadouts will be better and better. You'll have better gear on your scav. And on certain maps, there are scav extracts where you pay money to a car to extract on your PMC. That will be cheaper. There's little perks here and there for your scav karma. But basically, when you're on your scav, you don't want to kill other scavs, other AI scavs. Other player scavs, if someone's doing what we're doing right now and they're loading it on their scav, you can talk to them. If they are killing scavs, that means they're a bad guy now. They went against your scav family and you kill them, then you get bonus. But be sure that they're killing scavs. If you kill a player scav, that's going to count against you. You have to be certain that they're killing scavs. But for the most part, scav is, you can go around in a scav and not kill anybody except for PMCs if you know that they're PMCs. Otherwise, use VoIP. VoIP, especially on a scav, comes in crazy handy to get out of situations. All right, so here we are in raid. We're now in a raid. I'm looking around. I'm seeing where I'm spawned. Okay, I know where I'm spawned. There's a box right here. We're going to hit F to search this box to loot it. We have our items here. We got some rubles. That's nice. Unknown item. We're going to middle mouse click. Remember, we're going to control and click to loot these items. Remember, control and click will automatically loot it from the box you're looting onto your character into my inventory. And that's just an easy, quick way to loot without having to click and drag every single one. Remember, we're hitting F to search and shift. If you just click it, we sprint. Now they're shooting out behind us. I want to avoid that. There's nothing wrong with avoiding fights. I hear footsteps over here. Hello? VoIP is disabled. I have to go to my settings and enable VoIP, apparently. Where's VoIP? Hello? What's up, dude? Okay, that guy's a scav, and I know he's a scav based on his loadout. Hitting F to loot this medical bag right here. You can see in the top right, 9:34. That's the time left in the raid. We're just gonna, he looted this box. You can see it says closed. That means he's looted it. We're gonna close it and search it again because sometimes people leave stuff behind that they don't need, but we might need. We might want because we're brand new to the game. See, pile of meds, we need this. Remember, pile of meds is on our shopping list. So that's a great find for us. And now I think we're just gonna get out because we have something we need. We don't need to be too crazy about our looting. And I'm gonna head to the extract. We're going to the, what I call the red light extract, or I'm not sure what the technical term is, but you look at the top right, that's the raid timer. And we can get out. And I know the extract is over here. I'll show you on the map. Before we extract, one thing I want to touch on the bottom left, you can see my character, and there's a blue bar and a green bar. See the green bar, every time I sprint, it goes down. That's my stamina. My leg stamina. My blue is if I ADS, aim down sight, my blue bar is going to decrease. That's my arm stamina. And we'll talk about stamina in more detail in our PMC. I just want to give you that quick little introduction there. Okay, so we spent 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the raid, but we survived. In order to get a survive, you need to have at least 800 XP or be in a raid for 7 minutes. If you don't hit those markers, either of those markers, you'll get a run through. You get a run through, that means all the items you got will not have found in raid status. If you have items that you need to have the found in raid status, make sure you've been in the raid at least 7 minutes or have at least 800 XP. However, on a scav, you don't load in at the beginning of the map. You load in a few minutes into the map. So even though we were only there for 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it was past the 7-minute mark from when the raid started. Factory is, I believe, a 25-minute map. So we are way beyond the 7-minute. On your PMC, that becomes important. Also, we had more than 800 XP, so that's not really a concern, but I want you to be mindful of your raid timer. If you're on your PMC and you looted like one thing and you found one item you really, really needed and you want to extract, stick around, hide in a bush, hide behind a wall, wait for that 7-minute mark, and then you can extract and make sure that item that you need has that found in raid status. So here's everything we got out of the raid. I want everything to move over to my stash very quickly, so I'm going to hold control and just click every single thing super fast here. I'm going to do quick looting. I don't want to spend a bunch of time in this menu because this menu is boring. We're just going to take literally everything. Hit next, and here is that fence reputation we talked about. Fence reputation for exfil on your scav, 0.01. It's not that much, but it adds up every single time, so you should be using your scav every single time. Also, we didn't kill any scavs, so we didn't get negative scav rep. We saw that other player scav, he was an AI as well. You could tell from just his loadout was a typical scav loadout, and when I used VoIP, you can see he turned to look at me, so I knew he could hear me. Just minding his own business. We minded our own business, and we got out with a pile of meds that we needed and some other things that we can sell. We come to our character, and we can sell some things. We're gonna keep this brown knife because there is a quest to turn in some brown knives. And remember, we have this infographic for all the items we're gonna need for our quest later on. And brown knife is over here on Prepper. You can see on the left, we need 5 of these. There's a lot going on here. So you can take your time and look at it. I just happen to know that we need them. We also need this pile of meds, so we're gonna keep that. We need that for our hideout. I'm gonna keep this augmentin because that's a decent painkiller. Everything else we can probably, money goes over there. Remember, it can stack. Everything else. Oh, BP ammo is very, very strong. Remember, your EFT wiki will be your best friend for ammo. Also, there is a very large spreadsheet that No Food for Midnight made. We'll put that in the description below as well. A spreadsheet of all the ammo, of all the calibers, and how good they are. Spend some time with it. It's a little hard to read when the first time you see it, but BP is a very good 7.62 by 39 millimeter caliber, very good ammo, so we're going to keep that. Everything else we're going to sell, we're going to sell just to traders because that's all we have access to. We do not have access to the flea market yet, so we're going to sell. So we have a few clothing items we'll sell to Ragman. That's the backpack, the glasses, the bank robber. We'll sell that, and we'll sell that too. Why not? You need these glasses for later, but yeah, we'll sell them. We can reacquire them later. We have some weapon parts. Remember, Skier is our weapon parts. Oh, he'll take this whole sniper rifle. We'll sell him that, and actually we'll sell that to Mechanic because Mechanic likes guns, right? He'll give us a little bit more for that than Skier would. And that's another thing is if more than one trader will buy an item, compare prices. Go window shopping. See what they'll give you. Get the maximum you need unless you really need to spend money on one specific trader for some reason. Spend it there. We'll keep these meds because we can use them, and you'll either use them or have to buy them later, so we'll just keep them. Okay, so we got one pile of meds. So I will go to my shopping list and I can take out a pile of meds. Now we still need a syringe to craft our med station. We didn't find any Salewas. I think normally I would spend a lot longer in that raid and loot a lot more boxes, and even in factory for a small map. I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like. Get in, loot a couple things, get out, get a win, see what it feels like, see what it's like to extract, move your items over, and things like that. So a quick and easy one to start. It's not that big of a deal. And also you can see our scav timer now is 15:20 for the next time we can use a scav, and it's a completely different loadout, completely random. Every time this is up, you should be using it, every single time. And the last thing I want to do is let's look at the factory map, and I'll show you where we went. We kept it pretty simple on our raid. We spawned in right at the bottom of this ramp where this J is pointing to. We spawned right here, which goes underground. So this J corresponds to this J over here. This is the ramp we spawned in on. We ran around this corner. This is where that little green box was on the floor. We ran across this room and looted the big brown box over here on this side. Then we ran back up this ramp into this little tent is where that little medical bag was. And right here in the corner, this is where that second brown box that the other player scav had looted first, where we found the pile of meds, was in this box. And then we just ran back down, came over, and we came to this camera bunker door extract with the red light, remember the red light extract? So we came up this ramp, we ran across those little silos, and went straight to the extract. So we didn't explore 90% of the map, right? A lot of other lootable areas, but there was a lot of gunshots over on this side of the map that I wanted to avoid. There's nothing wrong with avoiding fights, especially early. If you're only looking for items, if you don't have great gear, you hear gunshots, run the other way or wait until those players leave the area. There's nothing wrong with that. Play a little slow, play tactical, Avoid fights unless you absolutely need them early on. That was a scav run. We're just looking for a couple of items. Wanted to get a win, loot a couple things and get out. Avoid the gunshots, keep it in a small area, get out, top up our cash flow a little bit, and we got out with the pile of meds that we needed. So in this episode, we looked at our settings, we did a quest review, we talked about our hideout and found and raid items and crafting, we talked about our stash, things to sell, what to keep, we looked at a map, and we did our first scav run with a win under our belt. Great episode today. In episode 3, we're gonna look at the PMC side of things. We're gonna look at quests that need to be done under PMC. We're gonna look at our character loadout, how to fully gear up our character, our PMC, to take the stuff that we want into a raid. We're gonna look at how to modify our weapon, how we like it. It'll be very, very simple to start. It gets a lot more complicated later, but we'll do some simple loadouts. We'll talk about insurance. We'll talk about, and then we'll get into a PMC raid, and we'll review it after that. So I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you guys in episode 3. Please like and comment on this video. It really, really helps. Any suggestions you have or constructive criticisms of the series, things we can work on. Or if you don't, just say hi in the comments. We appreciate it. I read them all, and I'll respond to them all. And subscribe to the channel. This is a new YouTube channel for us, so make sure you hit that sub button, and I will see you guys in episode 3. And until next time, stay real, stay sexy, and stay real sexy. Carry on, and peace out.